The morning sun spilled gently through the glass windows of Martha's diner, one of those small-town places where every face is familiar and every story runs deep. The smell of freshly brewed coffee mixed with the sizzling of bacon, and for most people, it was just another peaceful morning. But for Martha Henderson, this diner was more than her workplace, it was her last link to her late husband's dream. Martha was in her late 60s, her hair silver like moonlight, tied neatly in a bun. She moved with quiet dignity, though her back ached from years of running the place mostly alone. Her son, Ethan, visited whenever he could, but his life as the town's police chief kept him constantly busy. Still, he called her every night. And every night, she'd tell him, "Don't worry, honey. Your old mama's tougher than she looks." That morning, however, a storm was brewing behind the diner's calm smiles. A group of rough-looking young men had entered, loud, arrogant, their laughter cutting through the quiet like knives. They were locals, the kind of people who thought the world owed them something. Their leader, Brad Walker, was a broad-shouldered man in his late 20s with a history of troubled drunken fights, reckless driving, and a temper that made people step aside. He walked in like he owned the place. "Hey, old lady," Brad called out, slapping his palm on the counter. "We've been waiting here for 10 minutes. You serving food or collecting dust?" Martha turned, wiping her hands on her apron, her voice soft but firm. "Morning, Brad. I'll get your order right away. We're just a bit busy this morning." Brad smirked. "Busy? I see 3 people eating eggs. What are you, 80? Move a little faster, maybe?" The other men laughed. A couple of customers looked up, uncomfortable. But Martha, seasoned by life, didn't flinch. She simply smiled that calm, unshakable smile. "You'll get your food soon enough, dear." Brad didn't like being talked to like that, especially by someone he thought was beneath him. He leaned closer, his tone turning cold. "You better watch your mouth, lady." Martha turned away, pouring coffee for a trucker sitting at the end of the counter. But as she walked past Brad's table, one of his friends deliberately stuck his foot out. Martha stumbled, barely catching herself before she fell. Her hand trembled, but she steadied the coffee pot and said nothing that only made Brad angrier. He stood, grabbing her wrist. "I'm talking to you, old hag. When I say hurry up, I mean." The sound came like thunder. A loud slap, echoing through the diner, every head turned. Brad had just slapped Martha across the face, the coffee pot shattered on the floor. The smell of spilled coffee filled the air, but the silence was deafening. Martha stood frozen, one hand on her cheek, her eyes glistening, not with fear, but with pain. Pain not just from the strike, but from the humiliation. She looked at him, then down, her voice trembling. "You should leave, Brad. Right now." He sneered. "Or what? You'll call your son to scold me?" Someone at a nearby table gasped. "You don't even know who her son is." Brad turned. "Who cares? Some farmer?" The man shook his head slowly. "Her son's Ethan Henderson, the chief of police." Brad's smirk faded slightly. He looked around as murmurs rippled through the diner. Martha said nothing. She simply bent down to pick up the shards of glass, her fingers trembling. Brad hesitated for a moment, then forced a laugh to cover his unease. "Chief or no chief, she's just another old lady. Can't scare me." He tossed a crumpled bill on the counter and strutted out with his friends. But the moment the door closed behind them, the entire diner erupted with whispers. Martha's friend Clara, the cook, rushed over. "Oh, Martha, are you okay?" Martha nodded weakly. "I'm fine, dear. Don't make a fuss. I don't want Ethan to worry." But Ethan would worry because by the time the lunch crowd rolled in, word of the slap had spread across town like wildfire. In a place where everyone knew everyone, it didn't take long before someone made the call to the police department. That evening, Ethan Henderson was sitting in his office, going over reports. His uniform was crisp, his posture sharp, but his eyes softened when his mother's name popped up on his phone. He smiled as he answered, "Hey, Ma. How's my favorite diner lady doing?" There was a pause. Then a small, hesitant voice, "Oh, you know me, Ethan. Still fighting the coffee machine." He chuckled. "That thing's older than me." But then he heard it, the faint catch in her voice. The way she avoided talking about her day. His smile faded. "Mom, what happened?" "Nothing, sweetheart. Don't worry yourself. It's just been a long day." He knew that tone. His instincts sharpened. "Mom. Tell me the truth." Another pause. Aside there was a young man, Brad Walker. "He got a little rough. But I'm fine, truly." Ethan's jaw clenched. His hand slowly curled into a fist. "What do you mean by rough?" "I said I'm fine, Ethan. Please don't make a scene. It's not worth it." But it was worth it. It was more than worth it. As soon as he hung up, Ethan stood up so fast his chair nearly toppled. His officers looked up as he grabbed his jacket and stormed toward the door. "Chief? Everything okay?" Ethan's voice was cold. "No. But it's about to be." Back at the diner, Martha was closing up. The streetlights flickered outside. She moved slowly, her cheek still faintly bruised. She didn't notice the police cruiser pulling up until she heard the doorbell chime. Ethan stepped inside, the anger in his eyes barely restrained. "Mama." She froze, surprised. "Ethan, you shouldn't be here." "I told you." He gently took her hand, looking at the faint mark on her face. "Who did this?" Her eyes filled with tears. "Please, Ethan, don't." "Who?" His voice broke the silence, deep and shaking. She looked down. "Brad Walker." Ethan turned, already walking toward the door. "Stay here. Lock up behind me." "Ethan," she called out, her voice trembling. "Don't do anything you'll regret." He stopped, glanced back, and said quietly, "He already did something I'll make him regret." Outside, the night was calm, but the air crackled with something dangerous. Ethan drove through the quiet streets, his mind replaying every second of his mother's pain. He wasn't just a police chief tonight. He was a son, and somewhere across town, Brad Walker was laughing with his friends at a bar, bragging about how he put that old lady in her place. He didn't know who was coming for him. He didn't know that by morning, his life would never be the same.